Hey there, beautiful souls. I'm Colynn Hlokoff.
And I'm Meridee Hlokoff.
And welcome to Spiritual Sisters with Sass, the podcast where two sisters with a passion for spirituality and a touch of sass come together to explore the exciting world of self-improvement.
That's right, Colynn. We embarked on this incredible journey together, diving into different self-improvement techniques, yoga practices, and a whole array of life experiences.
Yeah, and through it all, we've managed to create lives that are abundant, happy, and constantly evolving. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it, Meridee?
You bet, sis. We've got two very different perspectives on life, but that's what makes this podcast so special. I'm all about diving in head first into life's adventures and embracing every challenge with a bit of sass. While Colynn here, she's got her own unique approach.
Yep, that's me. And I'm all about the yoga, mindfulness, and finding my zen. And together we make the perfect balance.
So whether you're looking for some wisdom, a few laughs, or just some heartfelt stories, you're in the right place. We're here to share our personal experiences and insights with you, all while exploring the wild and diverse world of self-improvement.
So grab your headphones and get ready for a fantastic journey with us. Spiritual Sisters with Sass is here to uplift, inspire, and keep it real.
Thanks for tuning in, lovely listeners. Let's dive in.
Spirit and sass. Here we go. All right. So welcome everyone to today's episode of Spiritual Sisters with Sass. Today, Meridee had a really good idea about what to talk about.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. So you guys, today's conversation is about aging, whether you do it naturally, if you're looking at YouTube or Facebook right now, or you look like me after doing a surgery. We wanted to talk about this without judgment, with an open mind, and just kind of give you like two sisters going through the journey of life super closely together, which is something that I find a lot of people have said to us recently, both of us, wow, you and your sister are really close. Hey. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's a choice we made though. And that being said, we're going through these journeys in completely different ways, similar journeys, completely different ways. So Lynn and I had a conversation. She's getting married soon. And so we were talking about, I said, would you like to go see my beauty woman? She's making faces at the screen. I asked her if she wanted to go see my beauty woman before she got married, make herself feel really good, get a little Botox, maybe some filler. And she literally looked at me and said, as much as I appreciate your offer, because I know you're not saying it out of spite, I am going to age naturally. And I was like, okay, fair enough. Aging gracefully. And she's like, I don't know if we could call it gracefully, but I'm going to age naturally. And I was like, okay, I still think gracefully is a fair statement. And I was like, it's interesting because I've chosen a totally different path of no, I don't want to age naturally. In fact, in some ways, aging is an issue for me. I love aging with the experience that it brings, with the life that it's brought for me, all of those things. But y'all, wrinkles and when I took the filler out of my cheeks, I just felt so shitty about myself. And then we thought we would have this conversation. And this is the biggest thing, I think, for me in all of this, is so many people will be like, why do you do it for everyone else? And I will tell you right now, I don't do it for anybody else. I do it entirely for myself. When I feel good, I walk with confidence. I talk with more confidence. I feel like people, may take me more seriously, but I don't do it for everyone else. I do it for me. So let's dig into it, Lynn. What makes you want to do this completely naturally and not want to start participating in all the fun things that are anti-aging?
Right. There's a couple things like, okay, this is my personal perspective on it because I used to have very crooked teeth. I had like no eyebrows.
Same.
I have gray hair. I have saggy boobs. I have stretch marks, and I have a bit of a belly. And that's been a thing for a very long time with me. And um and I've like literally disliked all of those things. Now I have wrinkles. You know, that's when I was making faces. What I was doing was showing everybody the lines in my forehead because I have
I
several
don't have any because I
lines.
can't move it.
Exactly. That's how I know people have Botox is I just look at their forehead and notice that they have no wrinkles. So it's clearly they have Botox. And it's such a common thing. And I see it a lot in the yoga world. I see a lot of like implants and lip fillers and nose jobs. And what comes back to me when I was recognizing about self-love and that I didn't love myself was that no matter what I do, it's always me. Like here I am. No matter where I go, here I am. And no matter what I do, here I am. And that lack of self-esteem, I don't actually think has to do with the stretch marks or the wrinkles or the saggy boobs. I
Agreed.
think that it's societal pressure. And the only true way that I can find self-love is by finding self-acceptance.
Okay, in saying that, that leads me to a question about do you like, okay, so like I said, for me, this is about how I feel about myself. So a half hour ago, I wasn't wearing any makeup because I still had the stitches in and stuff like that. I got to put some makeup on. It made me feel good. I don't even need to leave the house. It makes me feel better about myself. I'm not looking in the mirror. I just know I feel better about myself. So my question there is, do you feel better about yourself when you wear makeup and dress yourself up a bit though?
I do. Um,
Because you're enhancing what you have.
I do, and people always talk about my eyes. I get a lot, like I would say the number one compliment that I have had my entire life, including now and more now for some reason, is my eyes. Like even the other day I went and saw my friends that are ex-clients and now they're my investor portfolio people. And I went and saw them and they look so good. And I'm like, oh my God, you look so good. And they're like, your eyes. Okay. I don't know. Nothing's changed. They're the same
Yeah.
eyes that they saw 5, 7, 8 years ago. So yeah, when I put makeup on, I know that it enhances and draws more attention to my eyes, which are clearly an asset, my eyes and my feet.
Her feet.
Right? And I mean, so here's what comes up for me is my teeth. So, I mean, you know, I spent up until my mid-30s with crooked teeth. I had these fangs and my teeth were very crooked.
Mhm.
And I remember saying, should I get braces? Should I get braces? And you were always for it because when I smiled, I did this.
Uh-huh.
Remember? And I had
Yeah.
these two like pointer
She
things
covered
here.
her upper teeth so that you
Yeah.
couldn't actually see the crookedness of her teeth.
So I looked like I
Yeah.
didn't, I was kind of like gumming it, right? And I remember you would always say, just like really smile so people can see, like, I mean, there's your teeth. That's what they are. And I remember
And they give
asking,
you character as well. I used to say that to you all the time. They give you character. They're one of the things that makes you unique.
I remember asking a friend, like, should I get braces? And he said no, because then you wouldn't be you any longer. It'd be really weird. So, anyways, I did get braces, and I used to have these very paper thin lips. And it was a whole thing of my jaw. I had a really deep bottom jaw and a very small top jaw because my tongue never went to the roof of my mouth. It's like a whole thing. So my jaw was too small, so my teeth were crooked. And so when I started to when I got my teeth, you know, he said, you can take the gold package or the silver package. And I'm like, well, what's the gold package? He's like, we break your jaw. And so I was like, I'll take silver, please.
Ugh.
So I took the silver, and I mean, this is a result, and I am really happy with the result. I have very beautiful teeth. I'm really happy about that. And there was a whole bunch of time in which I struggled physically because it changed the look of my face. Like my lips got bigger, my mouth kind of went like pouty, which is annoying, and I looked different. And I remember asking people, who do you like better? And nobody would ever give me a straight answer. So I made stories of myself that the old Colynn looked better and nobody had the balls to tell me. But nobody ever did say, like, you look better with straight teeth. Nobody. And that, I think, is what I was looking for, to hear from someone so that I could accept myself now looking like I was a fucking stranger to myself. And I struggled with that because I didn't look like me anymore. And people have always talked about my smile as well, even with crooked teeth. So things change, and I didn't like the new me because I was so used to the other me.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggled a lot for several years. And then the eyebrows, I have no eyebrows, and I used to pencil them in. And then someone talked me into getting tattooed eyebrows. And I remember going, and I left crying because I had nothing. Like I was a burn victim. And then I left, and looking back, I mean, they were tiny eyebrows, but for me, they were so dark. I looked like a clown, and I left there crying. And she's like, that'll be like, $500. And I remember like, ah, like, she's like, but don't you feel better? And I was like, no. And I said to her as I left, I look like a fucking clown. And it was just like a whole change on my face again of something that was new. And so even then, like even after physically altering myself, I was still unhappy.
Yeah.
Which is why I have continued. I've saved up for a boob job and a tummy tuck 3 times. One time I quit smoking, saved up all the money. And then fucking my husband, we needed it. He kept smoking the whole time. I have resentments in there, and then another time I saved it up, and then we divorced, and I needed to fucking use that $6,000. I had a friend that was a plastic surgeon that told me he would do the work for free. All I had to do was pay for the theater and the anesthesiologist. So, and then I saved it up one more time and chose actually not to do it, because now that I'm in Costa Rica, plastic surgery is very cheap and very accessible. And I haven't done it. And I feel like as a yoga teacher and a self-acceptance, self-love provocateur, that I would be a complete fraud if I went and got a boob job. I have really beautiful boobs. They're just saggy. And in my head, if they just sat up, they would look that much better.
They did used to sit up.
But not, you know what? Honestly, I breastfed and they stopped sitting up.
Yeah.
So I was 20 and I had saggy boobs. I remember one time I was out working in the yard and some people came over, and my husband was like, go put a bra on. And trust me, they weren't as saggy then as they are now. But like, there's been this time of like, I'm not going to love myself even if I keep changing myself.
I mean, these concepts can also go into us both being covered in tattoos.
Yep.
Because plastic surgery isn't the only thing here that we do. Filler, Botox. Like, yes, I just went and had a surgery done, which is, I'm looking at the camera for those watching. I had an eyelid lift. So even already my eyes are more open.
Yeah.
We have hooded eyes in our family.
Yeah. Like look at mine.
Yes. And mine were much like Lynn's. And then on top of that, because I had the filler taken out of my cheeks because I was swelling from the allergic reaction, I had fat transfer. So they pulled fat out of my stomach and they put it into my cheeks. And the one thing that I want to say here that Lynn said to me a long time ago, the last time she decided not to do it, because I encourage you to do whatever makes you feel good. So if that means keeping your crooked teeth, then I encourage you to do that, because it does make you unique. I didn't say those things just to make her shut up. I said those things because they were the truth. I also felt that when you smile like this, that you were pointing out a flaw that people otherwise weren't seeing. I have hyperpigmentation that's really bad right here and in different places on my face. And if I'm not wearing makeup, I was in Mexico, and I have actually noticed this with quite a few different things that I don't like about myself. Say I'm talking to my girlfriend, we're in Mexico, and I'm not wearing any makeup because it's too humid and all the things. And I'm like, if only I didn't have this hyperpigmentation. And she's like, wait, what? I didn't even notice it until you pointed it out. So people don't criticize you the way that we criticize you. Like, we criticize ourselves so intently. And now when you went to go do the boob job and stomach and tummy tuck, one of the things you said to me is, I'm scared it's not going to be enough. And there is a real addiction to plastic surgery. There is. And now, even having the little bits that I've had done, I understand why. Because if I can make this little thing that much better, why couldn't I just make this a little better? And for example, with the filler in my cheeks, well, if it's this good, maybe it could be even a little better. The cool thing is, if you have a good doctor, I went into mine and I was like, I just feel like blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, we're not doing any of those, but we will do. He's like, you were a great candidate for the last 3 years. We've talked about this. You're a great candidate for the hood lift. Yes, I think that he even said to me, I won't do fat transfers on people unless they're having problems with filler. Otherwise, I encourage you to just go get filler. That type of thing. So I see how, getting these little things done. And then again, these are not always instantaneous. Like, yeah, my eyelids are better, but also, are they? Are they? Not just that, I'm now going to be waiting 6 weeks to 3 months to see the full results of what this looks like.
Right.
Same with, for example, liposuction. I will tell you that every person I know who has ever had liposuction, the first time they're like, yeah, it was better, but by the time I was fully healed, it was okay. The second time I had it done was when I really saw the difference. So now you're paying for a surgery, say 3 to 10 grand to have liposuction done, depending on how much you're having done, only to have to go back and do that again because it wasn't done fully. Now, again, something we may have to do with my cheeks that my doctor and I have talked about. He said to me, I'm super excited about your results. He's like, I love doing work on you because your body, the way your body responds. He's done my breasts, and I'm very, very happy that I had my breasts done. So I'm happy with all of the things that I have had done. But this also is showing up in, for example, I'm reading the book. We've talked about the book Worthy by Jamie Kern Lima, I think it is, or Jamie Lima Kern, something like that. And she talks about the difference between self-confidence and self-worth. And I will tell you that none of this plastic surgery contributes to my self-worth. 0%. All of it contributes to my self-confidence, which I've basically kind of always had. It's been something that has been relatively easy for me in my life. But there's definitely moments where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not enjoying that getting older thing. I have these wrinkles under here that I am not a fan of, just saying. And there's things like that most people are like, I don't even notice it. You're such a retard. Yeah, I understand that.
Those words.
Oh yeah, well, people tell me I'm stupid because of the fact that I see things that they don't see, or that they're not focused on. And yet, because I see myself, I see those things. So I see how this like addiction to making yourself better can get out of control, and how these things also end up being like these women who are walking around like this with their lips. I get it. And that there's no judgment in it. It's just that we get to a point and then we're like, oh, but it could be slightly better. And then we keep growing and doing things bigger and bigger and bigger. And then suddenly we don't look like we did it all before.
So here's where I get guided, because I mean, I'm pointing right now at the wrinkles in my forehead that I'm barely doing anything that are showing up. Okay. And then the wrinkles around my lips that are also then around my eyes. So I've got wrinkles. I'm 45 years old. And I'm now in a world where pretty much everyone I know is getting fucking Botox and doesn't have wrinkles. Okay. So here's where I go back to, and it's this question of who am I? I mean, it's a foundational aspect of the teachings that I share in my coaching. Who are you? Right? And I did this yesterday with one of my clients. It's just awakening, and these are my favorite people to work with because I love seeing the awakening unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who are you? And then, I mean, he's actually like never been comfortable with that question. So I mean, I had to prompt him, like, you have a name, right? So lots of people, if I walk up to you at a party and say, who are you? You're gonna say, I'm Meridee, right? So there's an identity. I'm Meridee. And then, just for you, you're a woman, you're 43, you are, I mean, let's talk about your fit. you're good looking, you're a hard worker. We've got all these identities that we misidentify as. And so when you, who we have shared very openly, are a person that has identified as thin and beautiful, right? And then again, to the point of like, but that's all you are.
Yep.
Right? That then this is very clear on why you're going your certain way and I'm going my certain way, because I've been your sister. I'm the fucking older sister. I'm the ugly sister. I'm the fat
That
sister.
was on you though, I feel like, especially because when we went to Amsterdam, I'll never forget sitting in the cafe and the guy came up to us and was like, "Are you guys twins?"
Yeah.
And you looked at me and were like, "What the fuck just happened?"
What the fuck? Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's not on me. Also, I was a kid and people
Yes.
constantly, Meridee,
I
said,
remember.
"You're so beautiful. Meridee is so beautiful." And they would say it when I was there.
Yeah.
Meridee
Or,
is
dude,
so
we were in our
beautiful.
30s. We were in our 30s when do you remember that? We went to Nan's store and we were standing there, one of her longtime, probably 30-year customers. I want to say we were early mid 30s. And we went there with the kids. And one of our customers came in and was like, "Oh my God, Meridee, you've stayed so beautiful. You've always been the beautiful one." Not that you're bad, Lynn, but Meridee.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa.
Right. You
What
saw
the
it.
fuck just happened right there?
Yeah.
That was the first time that I consciously, and that took me back and made me remember all these other times that it had happened.
It
So
was
I
all
do
of dad's
see that part as
friends,
well.
all of mom's friends, all of like it was just such a constant narrative. And when I was at Tony Robbins and he said, "Who doesn't think they're sexy?" and you put my fucking hand up and he came over, what was the first thing I said? So clearly this is my identity. I said, "This is my sister." That was the first thing I said to
Yep.
him.
And he
So,
went, "That's nice and all.
yeah.
What about it?" And you were like, "Well,
And
she's so pretty." And he's like, "Okay, and
right.
so are
So
you. So what makes you not is basically where he went with it."
it totally. I know he looked you up and down, was like, "Okay, and like, so
I know, I was
and
almost insulted. I was like, "Wait, what? I'm
excuse
not that
me,
awesome?"
hello, have you seen me?" Like,
Yeah. Do I
no,
need to
and
dance for you?
so this, I mean, clearly these are misidentities that I have had and you as well,
Yeah.
because as a child with the repeated pattern, I mean, that's who you are. You're the pretty one. You're the one that should be a model, and I'm not. Right. And so
Yeah.
coming into teaching this, I regularly ask people, "Who are you?" And then let's get all the identities out, because let's just hold this. Like last night, what I was telling my client was, I mean, you're a man. You're a man that's 60 years old. So you have a lot that goes on around that as well. I mean, we're not talking about this. I don't want to get weird, but if you have a small penis, like you're not a man. You're not a good man. People don't want to have sex with you and you're not manly enough. Like, and we're not talking about it, but it's the truth. And so now this person, regardless, and I don't want to know what size his penis is, but like regardless, that's in his head. And
Yeah.
if it's the opposite, then he's like a better man because
I'm
he
the
has,
best. Yeah.
right?
Look at how masculine and manly I
And
am.
we're women. So we have our own story around being women as well. Like, shut up. And, 1 in 3 are sexually abused. And like, there's so many identities that come that we don't even open up to. We just like, I'm a woman, but that carries so much weight with it.
Yeah.
And so many stereotypes and so many stigmas and so many things that we've been taught societally, but never agreed to. That's the piece. When did you sign a contract saying, "Listen, this is beauty"?
I will stay young forever. I don't know where my contract went, but I clearly signed it somewhere.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up, because if we look back, like, to be honest, in the yoga, there is a goddess and her name is Dhumavati. And she represents the crone. And the crone has always been like, in fairy tale lore, it's a witch. The crone is old. The crone is ugly. The crone has been used up, and she lives in the fucking woods in the middle of nowhere. And if anybody comes out, she's going to eat them. Like, that's what has been. You talk about Disney princesses and fairy tale endings and non-reality. This is, since we were children, we've been indoctrinated to this. It's been big business is like, oh, look at these innocent little things. Let's make them buy into Botox for the rest of their fucking lives. Because
And now
if
if she
you're
says
at
it that way, there is no judgment here, you guys. We are coming from two different places, and she's not saying don't do fucking Botox.
no,
She's saying part of the reason we do Botox is because we've been taught to do Botox. And I
yes.
don't disagree. 1,000%. I see how society does. Yes, I do this for me, but I do this for me to feel good because I'm sure that that's part of my societal training.
Based on your beliefs and indoctrination. Like, we did the picture of you, and that's just going over and over. Like, you're the pretty one, dude. You better fucking look good as we age. But I'm
Well,
the fat,
and
ugly one, so
I'm gonna put a little piece in here as well of a voice that I remember hearing. Now, I did a boudoir photo shoot on my 40, just after my 40th birthday, for this exact reason. And it was because mom had said to me, don't worry, you'll be just like your grandmother. You'll be fat and ugly by the time you're 40. And I never let that go. I held on to that for so long. And then on my 40th birthday, I did a boudoir photo shoot, and I was not fat, nor was I ugly. And then I did, shortly after that, I put on probably the most weight I've ever put on because of the same fucking story in my head. So at first I fought it, and then it like happened, and I got heavier and didn't feel good in my skin, and then got more comfortable with myself, and then realized like there's a certain level of fitness I feel comfortable in where I don't walk past the mirror and beat myself up. And I wanted to be comfortable in that. And so there's ways too that, like, yeah, society designed us in this way or has conditioned us in this way, but so has the things that are in your life. And
well, I mean, that's the connection, is that these ideals were put into the people that raised us, right? Like, at some point there has to be responsibility of being an adult and recognizing that you're making choices, hopefully not based on those old beliefs and stories. But if we start to look, like, that's what's amazing to me, is to look at, like, again, talking about in the wealth mindset or wealth well-being, is this idea of, like, you need to get a house, you need to get a mortgage on a house, so that you are now stuck for the rest of your life paying 40% interest. Sure, it looks like 7, but it's actually 40% interest
yeah,
for the next 35 years. And also, let's get a brand new truck so that every time you refinance, you can just take on more and more debt, so that your debt never goes down, but you're stuck here. Like, as I start to go, I'm like, holy shit. And so when I do this work with myself and accepting myself as I am right now, that's where I go, oh my God, no wonder I've been waiting for Prince Charming. It's been in my head since I was a child.
yeah.
And anyone that's old is fucking a stepmother that's evil.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Right? So
Yep.
this shit, it's not even me. And then when we can say society, then it actually, like, is very vague and blaming, but, like, there's no one that can take responsibility for society. So then that comes back to, like, personal responsibility. Everything is for me. And here's number one, why we suffer. Remember, we did the kleshas?
Mm-hmm.
You forgot who you are, and who you are, like, in the yogic perspective, is your God. And so God isn't even wrinkly, because God is like atoms in the air. Like, you've misidentified now. And who have you misidentified as? Well, ego. And ego is personality, body, emotions, and thoughts.
Ego
Because you
is the thing
forgot,
that attaches to designations to make us feel better.
because you forgot that you're God and you're amazing and you're perfect just as you are, without changing anything. then you misidentified as this thing that showed up. Now, again, you've already said it, but I do want to, because a lot of people take it personally when I'm saying these things, but I'm literally just saying what I think is truth. I'm sitting here covered in tattoos, right? I've always been a loud kind of like orange pickup, like I've always been a loud person myself. I have tattoos on my fucking face. So, and I have done a lot of my own stuff. I dye my hair still regularly. So I
That's
can't sit
matchy,
here,
matchy.
right? I can't sit here and be like, oh, you should be totally natural, because I'm not fucking natural at all. And yet there's
So
still
this brings something up. So in the book I'm reading, it actually came up today, and she was using this tool, and I actually posted it on my story today. So the tool that she talks about is, if you doubt that you are perfect the way you are, that you're worthy of everything that is out there, that there's a 1 in a billion chance that you're going to be here, less than that actually, that you're going to be put into this body on this planet. And yet you're here, and we sit here now. This hit me hard because, yeah, I just went and had an eyelid lift done and stuff like that. And she said, every single time you doubt the reality that you are all of those things, you're actually saying to your God, you're wrong. You're wrong. And my self-doubt is so much better than what you created. Even though you created this out of all of this, you're wrong. And my self-doubt is right. And so the tool that she suggests you use is ask yourself, every time you start doubting yourself, am I doubting? Like, are you altering yourself because tattoos are not fun. Tattoos fucking suck. They hurt like a motherfucker, especially after you've had certain amount or certain places. And so once you start doubting yourself, asking yourself, is God wrong or am I? Because God created me exactly how I am. Now, again, when we talk about God, we are talking about the universe, the space between everything, your higher power, the thing that created us, whatever the fuck you want
us
to
being
call it.
atoms. Yeah.
Yeah. Energy. We're talking about the fact that whatever God is basically inside of us, and that we are inside of God. I also saw this really cool video today on Instagram that said something about along the lines of, he's like, I don't know why men think they're so fucking smart, tricking the entire world into thinking that God is a man, because women are the ones that create life. So I just have to say that all the bullshit from us men, and it was a man saying this, he's like, it's all bullshit because women are the ones who actually create life. So how we decided that God was a guy is another
Hilarious.
thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so funny. So back to it, it's that. And when I was reading this, I literally was like, I had the thought, so my droopy eyelids that I was given are wrong? No. But also wanting to improve that isn't wrong. There isn't a wrong thing here. So this whole podcast isn't about you being wrong because you're addicted to surgery, or you have face fillers, or your lips are huge or they're not huge, or whatever it is. Maybe you're completely natural. Maybe you have no tattoos, which is a rare thing these days. Everything that you're doing is perfect exactly where you are, because you're exactly where you're supposed to be in your journey. So whether you have no wrinkles in your forehead or you have wrinkles in your forehead, all of it is okay. It's not something that we need to decide that that person's less than because they had surgery, or that person's better than because they have Botox.
Here's what I say to people, especially when it comes to like teaching yoga, right? Like, I clearly think there's a right way to teach yoga, right? Yeah. Because I teach functional yoga as opposed to aesthetic yoga. And functional yoga means less reduced injuries, blah, blah, blah. Aesthetic yoga is looking a certain way and performing poses. And I don't think that's ever been what yoga is about, but it definitely is now. So I have a lot of judgments and opinions, and then also like scientific proof about why functional yoga is probably safer for your body than not. So I have certain opinions about how I think people should be teaching yoga, especially in this modern day time and age. And who's to say I'm right?
I was just thinking that science doesn't make it right because science can be wrong as well.
I mean, yes, and like it's a tangible way for me to talk to people that
It
are
is.
more grounded. But the reality is, like, what I do end up saying, because here's one of the things about yoga is like speaking with passive language, breathing, inhaling, exhaling, fucking drives me nuts. When I go to a class where someone is a passive speaker, I feel like I can't trust this person, and I think that the space that they're holding is unsafe, and I don't want to be in their class any longer. Like, I just don't, because this person is clearly passive aggressive, because how you do anything is how you do everything. Okay, which means that they're not going to be straight with me. And what I appreciate is people that are direct.
Yeah.
I may not always be direct, but I appreciate people that are direct with me, because then I know where I stand. I have a trauma history in which I'm always guessing how people feel and then trying to suit the situation so that there's no drama, right? So clearly I will feel safer in an environment in which someone uses active language. And when you use passive language, it's not even proper English. So this is what I say. And then people continue to use passive language. Here's the thing. They're not present and they're not making the decision. They're off in their own head. They're worried about what they look like, what they sound like, if they're doing a good job, blah, 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 blah. And they're not actually holding space for the people in front of them. And so if you sat there and you chose to use passive language, I can respect that, because even though you have all of these points that are very clear and obvious as to why not to use passive language, and you
continue to choose
to do it, I can trust that person more than someone who's doing it absentmindedly, because that person's clearly not doing work, in my opinion. I know lots of people might be like, whoa, right? But like, if you choose to do that, so from this space of choosing to alter your body, I mean, I'm even sitting here continuing to alter my body, wanting more tattoos, knowing that I have a persona that I'm putting out there of I don't give a fuck, which is not true, as everyone that's watched this can know.
Yep.
Right? This is how I'm hiding myself. This is how I'm going. So just keeping in mind that I'm very aware that I'm talking about myself when I say this. I'm not sitting there going, it's all you. Is that when you're choosing to alter your body, it's not from a place of doing it for yourself. It's from a place of doing it for yourself based on other people's opinions. Because
based on even the societal beliefs, because it may not be based on other people directly's opinions, but based on the society as a whole.
Right, because you're not supposed to have wrinkles under your eyes and you're not supposed to have hooded eyelids.
I don't know that that's necessarily even true, because you're not supposed to, except you do.
I mean, the truth is you do. I mean, that's accepting oneself as they are. And I mean, like, listen, if I get up and I put my belly there and it's like seeing that you could see like and my, I'm not comfortable to just do the whole thing like this with my belly.
I mean, I don't know if I'd be comfortable with it the whole time, but it's because I'm staring at your belly button.
I'll be like, I'm not comfortable. I've tried to not tried. I have been in a place where I've been teaching a group of women, often very thin women, because that's a majority of yoga right now, is I'll sit there with my gut hanging out. And I'll be super self-conscious. And I'm doing this to prove a point. This is me. I'm accepting me, but it's so fucking uncomfortable. So even though I'm aware of all of these things, it's still like, this is so unacceptable. I don't belong here. I'm fat. This looks terrible. Everybody's staring at my gut. But like, funny enough, some people are like, wow, she's amazing. And the whole time I'm like, they think I'm disgusting. And we've already talked about this, because there's this dysmorphia that I clearly have, because I know that prior to running, and I never started running to lose weight. Never. It was to like check a mark off of a bucket list from years and years. And then I fell in love with running, which is what my coach talked about me doing. And what happened as an effect of me running is that I lost weight. but I don't see myself any different now than I was last year or 2 years ago. And people would say things like oh my God, you're the incredibly shrinking woman. Oh my gosh, you've lost so much weight. Oh my gosh, you look so good. Because I looked gross when I was fat. Like, where are we going with this? Or when I was bigger? Because
Yeah, I find that
I mean, what
interesting
even
too,
is
because
fat?
I can get super lean and be in the gym and someone will come up and be like, wow, you look so good. And then I put on 10 pounds and I'm feeling chunky as shit. And different people are coming up being like, oh my God, you look so good. So like that fluctuation, certain people are like, oh my God, you look so much better this way. And certain people are like, you look so much better this way. So everyone's opinion is different. And this is where I say I do it for me because it's about how I feel about me. And yes, it's probably from societal, because even that, I look at certain things and I see myself judging. And hello, we're human. So yes,
Yeah.
guys, I judge.
Yeah.
But I've learned how to curb that judgment. So I hear the judgment, I see the judgment, and then I look at myself. That's how there's no judgment. It's we have judgment. What do you choose to do with that judgment? And I choose to look at myself because I'm clearly judging myself every time I have a judgment of someone else. And so sitting in that, I'll see, a girl walking with short shorts. I'm wearing short shorts. And I'll see her walking with short shorts and her legs are cellulite. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's terrible. Sorry, what? Is it though? Because like 90% of women have cellulite, including myself. Okay. Also, I get more cellulite when my estrogen is higher. Just an FYI for all women out there, if your estrogen is high, you're going to see more cellulite in the back of your legs than you do at other times in the month. But I see that judgment and then I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm not just accepting myself for the way I am right now. Instead, I'm judging someone else because it's easier than looking at myself and saying, oh, I don't like that about myself. Also, it's reality. So is it really that bad that maybe I have cellulite? Is it really that bad that no, I'm not in perfect shape? Is it really that bad that I am not the perfect woman?
Right. And that's the thing though, is like, what is the perfect woman?
Mm-hmm.
So when we misidentify as our bodies, because you're not your body. And the way that I know that is by the way that people talk to me. You don't say, like, if you hurt your foot, you don't say, "Oh, I am foot."
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
say, I am hurt. You say, my foot hurts. I hurt my foot. So if you were your body, then you would identify your foot would not be your foot. It would be you because
Mm-hmm.
you're the body. So this is how we can start to unattach from the reality that you aren't your body. And now when you can see that you're not your body, then you can start to see that your body has emotions, that your body has thoughts. It's not you.
Yeah.
And then we misidentify as those things. Because if I ask you identities about you, like a lot of people will say, like, I'm not myself if I'm not happy and smiling. I've heard that so many times.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on with you? You're not yourself. And it's like, well, what does that even mean? Well, you're not smiling. Oh, so I'm happy. I'm happy. And what we know now is that I'm fucking uncomfortable and so I laugh and make jokes instead of actually dealing with my trauma. So I'm not happy. I'm incredibly unhappy, bypassing all of my emotions and then identifying as happy. So I continue to
Mm-hmm.
people please people. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
None of it is me.
Yeah.
So when you can start to actually identify as not your body, then you can let go of the things that you have to do that are imperfect,
And
because
that
you
that
realize that
content.
you have this fucking vehicle that has birthed children, like for me, birthed children, that gets me from this point to that point, that fucking ran 42.2 kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful for my body, not like you piece of shit. I had to walk for the last 12K.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 1,000%. And that's the other thing though, is that it's not so easy to just disassociate with your body without fully disassociating from your body.
Yeah.
Because we were hungry when we were kids, I disassociated from the feeling of hunger because it's fucking uncomfortable. And in the last 3 years of getting back into a place where I actually understand what feeling hungry is, I literally, and now every time we go somewhere, Lynn's like, let me guess, you're hungry again. I'm like, I'm fucking starving. Let's go. Because I also am aware I get hangry, which is why it's a real thing. We get hangry because if you actually acknowledge these things, no, I'm not the body, but the body is hungry.
The body gets sick. The body has, I mean, this is amazing because I remember sharing a story with Rafa, and it was something that was very frustrating, but I never talked to you about it because I never talked to anybody about anything that bothered me. But I remember like so many times I'd come to visit and I have a schedule and I'm aware of the fact that I get hungry and that I then need to eat. So I would constantly say, okay, this is what we're doing. Can we? And I'm thinking of like most specifically, the one I remember the most when I was like, fucking, I tried to prevent this and it still happened, was when we were in Tanya at Salt Spring Island. And I said, okay, I have a call at this time, and then I have this much of a break, and then I have a call. And that call was at like 5. So we need to either eat before or eat after, but I have this 1 hour call in the middle. So, you know, like, what do you want to do? And you're like, no, blah, blah, blah. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. And we're fucking running around doing all these things. And 5 o'clock comes around and fucking Meridee's hungry. And when Meridee's hungry, she's got to eat now. Otherwise, she's super bitchy. And so I'm like, and then you're like, hey, we're going. And I'm in like a weed shop doing a call.
Yeah.
And you guys just fuck off and go eat. And then now everything is off for me. Now I'm coming at 6 and you guys went there at 5. So by the time I get there, everybody's already eaten. So then I need to order now, and then I get my food, and now I'm eating, but everybody wants to go because they've been here now for 2 fucking hours. And this was a constant feeling that I had in my people pleasing of not saying anything, but being more aware of your body and your cravings than you were, because you were so disassociated from your own body.
Yeah.
But I know, based on like making sure everybody's okay all the time, exactly Meridee needs to eat, and I knew it. And if I had a little bit more like less people pleasing and more like, no, have a snack right now, and then we're eating at 6, that would probably have solved, because you probably would have been like, okay.
Yeah, I probably would.
But no, I'm not going to say anything, and then I'm going to be silently pissed off for quite some time because I knew this was going to happen. It's really quite amazing when you actually tune into your own body and start to see these things. It's like, oh shit. Now you see it. That's great. Now we can have this conversation.
Yeah, it's super interesting though, because that's the hard part, is not disassociating from your body, but also acknowledging that your body is not who you are, so that you can make these decisions. And again, either way, it's fine. You can choose to age gracefully and naturally like Lynn, or you can choose to do some cosmetic surgery and look like a freak for a few weeks like me.
But then be happy because you have no wrinkles.
Sure.
For some time.
For a long time. But also, that's also like, we also have, I feel like as we're getting older, our skin is starting to match a little bit more too. Because I feel like these wrinkles are not so bad, and they could be. We both get compliments on our skin all the time. I'm often told, and as people are like, why do you do this stuff to yourself? Like, they'll say that to me, and I'm like, because if I didn't do it, I wouldn't look the way I look now. Like, I've been doing preventative maintenance on myself for 10 years. I don't want to say 10 years, but
it is something that bothers me though, is that it's like you're persecuted for it quite a bit. It's like, it kind of fits into your story. You know, like,
what do you mean?
One of Sari's stories is that she's a bitch. And so anytime she does anything that can be
slightly
taken as being a bitch, it's just like, oh, that's Sari, she's a bitch. So with you, when it comes around the idea that you're conceited and you're into your own looks, which I don't always think is a terrible thing, and I don't want to do it. It's like, then it's like any time that you do anything for yourself is just because you're a conceited bitch. You know, and then I watch people shit on you, and I don't really like it. Like, they're jokes, and I get it, but like, if we're impeccable with our words, then we're not joking about the fact that you went and got surgery again. In fact, I think what I witnessed, if I'm okay to talk about it right now,
please do,
is the fact that you went under general anesthesia again for the 12th time.
I think it was a 10th, but yeah, something
Okay.
like that.
And to me, it's a big deal. I mean, that is a big deal because as you get older, they won't do it because it could kill you. So you've gone under general for the 10th time, let's say, and there you are at home. Like, I mean, it was like you were just like a champ. Like it didn't even affect you. I'd probably be like, oh, I mean, look
Hey,
at me after
I
the
was walking
marathon.
around saying I'm fucking so stoned. Like I literally, everybody I talked to, I was like, oh, I'm so stoned. We went out the day after.
You're like
Stoned.
cleaning
I'm
your
taking pictures
fucking
of my shoes.
house and people are coming, and to me, I mean, it's just kind of like, oh, well, you did it to yourself, and there's like a lack of empathy on the fact, and that this still is like a part of who you are because there's expectations from people of you being beautiful and fit and all of these things. So it's really interesting to witness it go down as you continue to awaken at the same time. Like it's a big deal what you're putting your body through. It's been bruised for almost a week now.
Yeah.
And you went under general, and is kind of like it was just like a normal day for you.
I mean, it was. I got home and I think I sat on the couch
and you
for an
started
hour,
cleaning,
and then I started moving. No, I didn't clean until the next morning, but I remember I moved the freezer.
like, and then your fucking kids came, and then you're cleaning up after your kids, and I'm just like, fuck, man, like this is really interesting to witness of just like how into the norm this has become for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Which
it's
I think
been every couple of years. I want to say that I did have to go through some shit with having a botched boob surgery. So that was, I want to say 4 or 5 of my
right.
being under anesthetic was having the botched surgery, then having another surgery, and then having another surgery to try to kind of rectify that, and then going in for another one to completely
Just
rectify it and have those
redo
out.
them,
Yeah,
yes.
the reconstructive surgery, and then the touch-up surgery after, because reconstructive surgery often has that afterwards. So there was like 5 surgeries there that were all related to the one botched boob surgery. So you guys be careful and really research your person as well. Because 5 of those were directly related to one misstep, basically.
Yeah.
So interesting. I think this is a great place for us to stop for today.
Yeah.
And so thank you guys all for joining us for this. So continue being the beautiful yous that you are, whether that means looking like this temporarily or not. Whatever that looks like for you, just keep being you.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this spirited journey today.
We hope you enjoyed diving into the world of self-improvement with us. 2 sisters who found their own unique paths.
Remember, life is a tapestry of experiences, and it's how we embrace them that makes all the difference.
So whether you're on your yoga mat, exploring mindfulness, or simply navigating life's twists and turns, always keep that spirit and sass alive.
We are Colynn and Meridee Hlokoff, and we're here to remind you that happiness and abundance are within reach.
Stay connected with us on social media and keep those questions and stories coming. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, beautiful souls, keep doing the work, keep sharing your experiences, and keep living a life that's authentically you.
And never forget to add a little extra sass to your day.
Spirit and sass, always.